activities and insignificant activities. PM10, PM2.5, SO2, NOx, carbon monoxide, VOC, sulfuric acid, and greenhouse gas, GHG, emissions from the facility will be more than their respective PSD significant levels or PSD major source thresholds. These emissions were reviewed under the PSD regulations and documented in permit PSD-LA-862. The proposed emissions will be controlled by best available control technology, backed VACT. Neither the project nor the general commercial, residential, industrial, or other growth associated with it is expected to have a significant adverse impact on soil, vegetation, visibility, or air quality in the area of the facility or any Class 1 area. Increment consumptions for PM 2.5, 24-hour and annual average will be at 2.73 and 0.36 respectively, which are less than the allowable Class 2 PSD increments of 9 and 4. The EAS submitted by the applicant addresses avoidance of potential and real environmental effects, balancing of social and economic benefits against environmental impact costs, and alternative sites, projects, and mitigative measures. This permit was processed as an expedited permit in accordance with LAC 33, Roman numeral 1, Chapter 18. This hearing is not being conducted in a question and answer format. I'll repeat that. This meeting is not being conducted in a question and answer format. Please remember that the purpose of this hearing, this public hearing, is for LDEQ to receive your comments concerning the proposed permits. Also, please be aware that the hearing officer, myself, and the staff from the public participation group are not the decision makers on these proposed permits. My role as the hearing officer is simply to conduct this public hearing and to accept comments regarding the proposed permits for LDEQ. This hearing is to provide all individuals a chance to be heard, regardless of their positions on the proposed permits. Courteous behavior is expected of everyone at all times. You may speak in support of the proposed project, in opposition to the proposed project, or simply to provide additional information. All interested parties will be given a reasonable opportunity to comment unless testimony is not related to the purpose of the hearing. All comments heard and transcribed during this hearing and all written comments received during the comment period will be evaluated and addressed in the LDEQ's written response to public comments. A public notice advertising this public hearing and request for public comment on the proposed permits was published on the LDEQ public notice webpage on Friday, October 10, 2025. Copies of the proposed permits are available for inspection and review at LDEQ Public Records Center, 602 North 5th Street, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Viewing hours 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday except holidays. An additional copy is also available for review at the Richland Parish Library, headquarters, 1410 Louisa Street. That's here in Rayville, Richland, Louisiana, 71269. The available information can also be accessed electronically on the Electronic Document Management System, EDMS, on the LDEQ public website at deq.louisiana.gov. In addition, on Thursday, October 9, 2025, copies of the public notice were mailed and emailed to individuals who have requested to be placed on the hard copy and email mailing lists maintained by the LDEQ Office of Environmental Services. In accordance with Louisiana Administrative Code, LAC Title 33, Part 3, Section 531A3C. Comments received by 4:30 p.m. Thursday, November 20th, 2025 will be considered timely received comments. All comments heard and transcribed during this hearing and all timely received comments shall be retained by the LDEQ and considered prior to reaching a final decision. Written comments may be submitted online on the public notice webpage at deq.louisiana.gov/public-notices. Mailed to P.O. Box 4313, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70821, or submitted via personal delivery or email at deq.publicnotices@la.gov. Pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statutes Title 30:2050.23A2, notice of the final decision must be given to commenters by ordinary mail. Therefore, commenters wishing to receive notice of the final decision must include a complete mailing address when submitting your comments. Notice of the final decision will be mailed to those who made timely comments and provided a complete mailing address, to those who requested to be notified of the final decision, and to the applicant. Louisiana Revised Statutes Title 30:2017 requires that LDEQ proceed in the following order. Speaking order is determined based on the information provided on your speaker registration form and is based on the parish of residence, the parish of employment, or at the discretion of the hearing officer, whether the speaker is a public official. If you did not provide your residence or work information on the speaker registration form, you still will be able to speak, however, you will speak last. Department shall provide up to 30 minutes to the applicant for an introductory presentation. Afterwards, the preference for speaking up to 1 hour is given as follows. First, up to 1 hour to those citizens who live within a 2-mile radius of the location of the facility. Second, up to 1 hour to those citizens who work within a 2-mile radius of the location of the facility, of the proposed project, Third, up to 1 hour to those citizens who live within the parish of the location of the proposed project. Thereafter, each hour of the hearing shall alternate between those who are in support of the proposed permits and those who are opposed. Pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statutes Title 30:2017b3, the hearing officer may give preference to a public official to speak at any time during the hearing. However, any time limit set for citizen testimony shall also apply to public officials. An initial time limit of 3 minutes will be provided to each speaker. However, if you need additional time, you may speak once again after everyone has had an opportunity to speak and provide comments. This hearing will remain open for a minimum of 1 hour to allow any later arrivals an opportunity to speak. This hearing is being transcribed. Therefore, I will ask that each speaker begin by stating for the record their name, their address, and any organization that he or she may represent. I would like to remind you to please silence your cell phones. Thank you. At this time, I would like to ask the participants, the applicant's representative, to come forward and make their introductory presentation. I believe that Scott Armand is going to make the introductory presentation on behalf of Entergy.
Good evening. My name is Scott Armando. I'm the Capital Projects Director for the Franklin Farms Power Station. I'm a retired Navy submarine officer. I've spent the last 16 years supporting commercial power generation in multiple roles, including project management, engineering, and construction. I'd like to thank LDEQ for hosting the public hearing, also from the City of Rayville for the use of the community center, and the public in attendance tonight for your interest in the proposed Franklin Farms Power Station and the draft air permit proposed by LDEQ. The proposed Franklin Farms Power Station is a new electric generating facility to be located on the southwest corner of Fortenberry Road in Louisiana 183. The new power station will consist of 2 highly efficient natural gas-fired combustion turbine generators, each equipped with a heat recovery steam generating unit. Each combined cycle unit will have the average output of approximately 750 megawatts, for a total output of approximately 1,500 megawatts. The power station will ensure
Louisiana has reliable and stable source of electricity to support the industrial, residential load growth in the area. Air permit application describes the new units, including emissions control, air-cooled condenser units proposed to minimize air emissions and water usage by the power station. In addition, Franklin Farms Power Station will produce significant economic benefit in terms of business sales, household earnings, and jobs. power station will create approximately 20 to 25 full-time jobs and an average 600 construction jobs between the years 2026 and 2028, and provide over $1 billion in regional economic benefit. Upon the start of operation, the power station will hold various permits as required under our state and federal environmental laws. Entergy Louisiana has engaged in qualified environmental experts to review and ensure the emissions and operating profile of the power station can operate safely and in compliance with the state and federal requirements. Entergy is strongly committed to ensuring that all of the facilities operated in accordance with these environmental laws and serving the communities in which they operate. The commitment enables Entergy to provide safe, reliable, and cost-effective power for our customers. Okay. Entergy filed the air permit application with Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality on November 25th, 2024. The application proposes using the best available control technology to minimize the amount of air emissions from the facility. These controls include selective catalytic reduction, SCR, to reduce nitrogen oxide emissions, oxidation catalysts to reduce carbon monoxide emissions, and also uses natural gas to minimize particulate and sulfur oxide emissions. The facility will also use a cooling technology which has no air emissions and minimizes the water required to cool the combined cycle combustion turbines. The cooling technology is known as air-cooled condensers, which are of a similar concept to a radiator where the heat is transferred to the air instead of being transferred to water, as is done with wet cooling towers. The power station will not use cooling towers for cooling the combined cycle plants, which will minimize the amount of water used by the plants in operation. LDEQ has determined that the air emissions from the proposed permit will have no adverse impact on the air quality in the area and will not cause or contribute to any violations of the air quality standard. Application also includes an environmental assessment statement which evaluates the avoidance of potential and real environmental effects, balance of social and economic benefits against environmental impact, cost, and alternative sites, projects, and mitigative measures. This evaluation shows that the proposed project and the project location meet the intent of the ESA by selecting a site which minimizes environmental impacts, provides economic benefit to the community, and achieves the project goal and need. We again thank you, LDQ, for arranging this hearing, the City of Redville for hosting it, and we thank you, the members of the community, for taking your time to attend and express your views on this project. We look forward to expanding our presence in Richland Parish and being a part of the community here.
Mr. Armando, would you like to submit those comments as an exhibit?
Yes, I would.
Let the record reflect that his written comments are being submitted as an exhibit, which will be noted as Exhibit A. Are there any public officials present, any representatives, city officials, parish officials, to
My speech is very short to stay, so I would like to know, is anybody from the school board here tonight? Is anybody from the Mayor Lewis's office here tonight? No, nobody. I drove a school bus for 30 to 35 years. And when a kid gets hurt up there at that school, I'm going to be the first one that goes with the parents. There was no sense in the mega site not doing that road during the summer when the bridges were open. Now, all your 18-wheelers are going by the school. You should see the trucks that's piled up. My house, I left at 5 o'clock. 20-something vehicles were ahead of me. 2 weeks ago, my girlfriend had to be in Monroe at work. At start, at Abee Bayou, they stopped her for 40 minutes. I'm not complaining about the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department are doing everything they can out there. Everything. This public meeting should have been held before this project ever started, and it was not ever a meeting, because it would have been packed. It's not your young people that's leaving, it's your people like me. I just turned 77, and I got a good thousand places for trailers and everything to be parked all the way around my house. As far as from me to the 4th row back there from my house, I have a place for 500 trailers. Beside my house, on all sides of my house. And my husband just passed away. I am going to be forced to leave a place that me and him married 61 years ago. 61 years, and haven't been forced to leave because of what's going on. And it's no more going to be farming land. They can forget raising corn, cotton, vegetables. I live and have land right on the creek that I'm not selling. For one reason, all that mess has got to go down the creek. All of their sewage is going down to the creek. And that's all I have to say. And I appreciate you listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carter.
You need this?
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Okay, at this time, I'm going to call on those citizens who are in support of the proposed permits, followed by those who are opposed. First person I have is Mr. Rob Cleveland.
Good evening. My name is Rob Cleveland, and I'm here representing Grow NELA, which is the regional economic development organization that represents Richland and the surrounding parishes. This project has already resulted in unprecedented economic growth. It has benefited existing businesses, both large and small, as well as local residents. The residents of Richland Parish and all of the surrounding parishes are benefiting already directly from this project. Many locally owned businesses have added new employees and have record sales growth since the announcement of the Meta project. I personally am as dialed into the regional business economy as anyone in this region. And I can tell you that the #1 complaint I hear about this project from local businesses is that some of them have lost employees due to this project. Some of them have lost employees due to this project. There is only one way to interpret that complaint, only one way, and it is this. Because of the Meta project, local residents are taking higher paying jobs. Because of the Meta project, local residents are making more money and they have better lives because of this project. That is the only way to interpret that complaint. I urge you to avoid being distracted by the loud minority that you will hear tonight. This project is universally supported throughout Richland Parish. This project has been supported and approved with full transparency. The project has been approved multiple times at public meetings by Richland Parish Police Jury, all of whom were elected by the residents of Richland Parish. This project has been approved by Louisiana Economic Development, and it has been approved by the Louisiana Public Service Commission. We are here tonight for comment on the air permit for the natural gas generation facilities being built by Entergy. These facilities have been supported and approved by the Sierra Club, as well as the Southern Renewable Energy Association, both of whom joined the Louisiana Public Service Commission's settlement that approved these natural gas facilities. On August 21, 2025, the Southern Renewable Energy Association issued a press release that stated, and I quote, "The Southern Renewable Energy Association applauds Entergy Louisiana and the Louisiana Public Service Commission staff for working with stakeholders in good faith," unquote. This project was approved by a 4-to-1 vote at a public hearing by the Louisiana Public Service Commission. The project has been fully transparent and has received overwhelming support throughout the entire public process. Any suggestion otherwise is false. There is no way to overstate the positive impact the Metadata Center is already having on Northeast Louisiana, and I encourage you, the Louisiana DEQ, to do what the Sierra Club, what the Southern Renewable Energy Association, the Richland Parish Police Jury, and the vast, vast majority of Richland Parish residents have already done. Vote to support this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cleveland. Do you have any exhibits you'd like to submit? I don't have anyone else signed up to speak in support of the proposed project. The next person I have signed up is, I'm sorry, in support of it. The next person I signed up opposes it, Mr. James Hyatt. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yep, thank you for having this meeting. My name is James Hyatt. I am not from Richland Parish. I'm from the opposite side of the state, Calcasieu Parish. What we heard just now was something called full transparency, which really translates into a good old boy system that continues to do backroom deals and call stakeholders economic development and not the actual community in which these facilities are built. The DEQ has a responsibility to protect the environment and to protect the people in this state. They do not have the responsibility to rubber stamp or to expedite permits that will increase air pollution and cause significant public health impacts. The environmental assessment said there would be 23 long-term jobs at this facility. At the Meta facility, there'll be even less jobs. This short-sighted idea that the construction is good for the community is absolutely, a perpetual lie that continues to get put upon the people of Louisiana. In their permit, the NOx emissions alone almost reached the limit imposed by the National Ambient Air Quality Standard. To keep those emissions from reaching that limit, there's been a trade-off resulting in a massive ammonia slip. Close to 700 tons a year of dangerous gas will be allowed into Richland Parish air. Yet, in the calculation of allowables that would include the background ammonia, an exclusion of the agriculturally applied ammonia fertilizer invalidates the acceptance of the modeled ammonia releases. Furthermore, we continue to hear, I'm an Entergy customer in Southwest Louisiana, and that they care about the environment and they're going to do such good stuff, including carbon capture down there. 5.4 million tons of greenhouse gases by this facility alone. The only approved carbon capture well in Southwest Louisiana is able to capture 2 million tons. So there's no way that this is good for the environment in the long term, and this build out that allows for all these good construction jobs could be spent plugging the wells, the 4,500 abandoned and orphaned wells that the state has already, and the 400,000 wells. There's a lot of construction jobs. To say that this is what Richland Parish needs, especially to say that the public health of the people, allowing all of this NOx and the other hazardous air pollutants, is ridiculous. The acid rain precursors of close to 550 tons a year will escape this best available control technology. In a parish that is full of agriculture, what should also happen is every harvest, they should monitor the harvest to see that this air pollutant has not rained down on the crops that are now going to be consumed by farm animals and the people. Another one of the toxic air pollutants is a known sensitizer, increases allergic reactions, formaldehyde, at a rate of 91 parts per billion from stacked turbine A1A, and another 91 parts per billion constantly from the stack of turbine 2A. I hope the DEQ will not vote, but will reject this permit and look at alternatives. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Hyatt. Next, I have Angel Bradford.
Okay, hi, I'm Angel Bradford Rosenberg. I live in Orleans Parish. If you need my exact address, it's 1822 Urquhart Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70116. And I represent Sierra Club Delta chapter. I am the chapter chair and manager of the state of Louisiana. And I just wanted to clarify a point that was made, I think, by one of the supporters from Entergy, that just because Sierra Club National and the Beyond Coal campaign settled about solar does not mean Sierra Club, and certainly not Sierra Club Delta chapter. The Louisiana grassroots chapter, which includes Ouachita Parish and Richland Parish members and volunteers, support the natural gas plants. We do not. We are concerned about the 5 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions that will be increased. And it's super unclear to me, because I did notice the EAS that was mentioned in the document today, where or how we're able to account for the balancing of the benefits of economic and social factors, just wiping out those 5 million tons of carbon dioxide emission increases, and how that completely just makes the rest of the air pollution perfectly okay. I am a volunteer, like I said before, and my background is in cardiovascular physiology, and so we know air pollution is linked to cardiovascular disease, respiratory illness, as well as cancer and other risks, not just for human beings, but there's impacts on the ecosystem and animals, and y'all have very precious, beautiful land and animals up here that you need to consider and that are not accounted for with the air permit. The 5 million tons increase of carbon emissions is akin to 1 million cars increase on the road, or 2.5 million households' electricity use. Something else I wanted to lift up that's not accounted for by your air permits are climate change. So in Louisiana, we went through a drought just 2 years ago, and water impacts were felt by all of us in Louisiana. Tornadoes have become a thing as well, and emissions are only adding to those risks, and those are not accounted for by your permits. And so we ask that you reject these permits, adopt a clean energy plan, Entergy, a real one, and consider solar and battery backup. There's other options for powering Meta, and holding them to accountable to the clean energy and climate commitments that they've made historically, that they are not adhering to now. Richland Parish deserves better. And finally, we ask that you conduct a thorough environmental impact statement or a study that accounts for air, water, ecosystem, agriculture, that's not just this very simple and gloss over document that we've been provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bradford. So that's everyone who has signed up to speak. Is anyone else out there that wishes to make any comments for the public record? Our first Please state your name and address for the record, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Crystal Rahman, Crystalrommen. And
Crystal Rahman, what's the
Rahman,
last name?
Rommen. I'm a social worker. I live in Ouachita Parish. And I just think that if there's a cleaner way to go about doing this project that doesn't wreak havoc on our environment and the community, I think we should do that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rahman. Is there anyone else present who would like to speak either for or against the proposed project, in favor or in opposition? Let the record reflect that there's no one else who wishes to make comments at this time. So for now, we're going to go off the record. We're still a little early. It's only 6:35, so I'd like to stay here and keep things open for any late arrivals. So I'm going to go off the record, not close the hearing, but give people time to come in and make comments when they late arrivals. So at this point, we're going to go off the record until 7 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
Hi. Yes. Not on the record.
I'm going to come down so I don't have to bend over.
That's somebody else's. They got piggybacked
They
on there.
piggyback over here.
Yeah.